What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 9, episode 4. And Karen really said it best, so I'm going to just let her say
Jacqueline
it. Okay,
is
because
weirdly obsessed with Mia.
Jacqueline, girl. It's giving obsessed. And this was a cute filler episode. They set up some things for what we gonna get next episode, which is the episode that I really want to see. But let's get into it. So y'all know sometimes before we get into the review, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And there was 3 things that caught my eye that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So first up is this post that Mia posted either on the 20th or the 21st. Either way, I screenshotted it on the 21st. Shouts out to Apple because it tells you. But I guess Mia is upset by the way people are like receiving her storyline this season, and with the way she came out with that comment about or that post about Gordon being a predator, and then her Carlos King interview, that she wanted to set the record straight on a few things. So let's get into it. So she said this: things I wish I had control to show the world. 1, being a good mother is top priority. I know who my children's father is, and I never questioned this. They have the same last name as their father, Thornton. Then why bring it to the show, Mia? I mean, we know Gordon brought it up, but it was like it didn't need to be rehashed, especially when you were on the reunion saying that you know who your kid's father is and it was Gordon. But okay. Number 2, I sold my company, such a beautiful and truly proud of the aspect of my life. Through advisory, I ended up on top, thank God. Number 3, I reinvested into other aspects, and I look forward to continued development in and around the DMV. Okay, maybe that means she invested in property. The next one, Jacqueline and I are working together on a major SA campaign to raise awareness money for local organizations to directly support survivors. That's good. Number 5, my children are homeschooled private Christian online with private tutors. Number 6, we have a private chef that comes to the house and prepares meals and or personal deliveries, which is why I don't cook. Number 7, I'm enrolled at majoring in psychology and a minor in business law. So here's my thing. Why haven't we seen these things? Because I definitely think if you were enrolled in college, they would have given you the same spotlight that they gave Candace when we found out I think like 2 seasons ago, she was getting her master's. And then she says, last, since we're on the topic, Ink has not and would never have relations with any of my friends. If he was reaching out, he was trying to get to me, period. Okay, girl. Or get between Jacqueline's legs. He says, and no, I don't have relations with anyone other than my man. I'm just not that girl anymore. Truly wish the world could see all of me, not just messy Mia. But the thing is, Mia, you give us messy Mia. You're the one that's not giving us balance. That's your fault. But that's what Mia had to say. So next, let's move over to Ashley. So if you don't know, and I spoke about it in the drama video, the one that's probably posted before this video, so check it out. Currently going on, or was going on throughout the week, was High Fest, which is a streaming platform similar to Peacock, where they showcase all of the Real Housewives shows as well as the international Real Housewives shows like Real Housewives of Lagos, Real Housewives of Melbourne, Real Housewives of Cheshire, and so on and so forth. Well, Lisa Barlow, Ashley Darby, Jessel, and Sutton were over there doing interviews to help promote their shows. Well, it was posted by Queens of Bravo that during an interview session, Ashley had a few things to say. So they said this: at High Fan Fest, Ashley said Mia's going to have the most to answer for at the reunion, and Karen will be in the hot seat too. She might even be wearing orange. The crowd gasped. So it looks like Ashley is going to be on Karen's neck. And so Queens of Bravo also posted an interview that Ashley did. And it says, while Ashley says she misses Robin and would like to see Candace in her new era, she loves the new girls, even makes fun of Stacy and her bunions. Even if Stacy makes fun of her bunions. So let me play that for you.
To death. It would be really nice to see Candace in this new phase of her life. So some things like I do miss it, but the change has actually been really good for us. I think it shook up our cast in a way that we have better chemistry, a different dynamic. Stacey is a beautiful girl. She may come from my bunions, but she's still a beautiful girl, and I love her. And Jazzy is also just a really fun time. She can do a hair flip like I've never seen. So I really like the new girls, and I think it's going to be a great season. You guys will love it, I assure you.
What I find interesting about this clip is that out of the three new girls, she did not mention Kiarna. So it looks like the rift between Ashley and Kiarna is still going strong. But let's get into this review. Let's talk about it. So the episode opens up and the ladies are still in the car heading to the lake house in Lake Norman. Now we know Stacy is driving down on her own while the other girls are separated into three different cars. So the first car we hone in on is the one that has Mia and Karen. And Mia is just like, Karen, how are you? Karen's like, she's doing okay. But, this whole situation with the court case and the DUI is a lot. So then Mia was just like, well, I'm glad that you can take accountability that you were going through a lot and you made a mistake. And Karen is like, I'm not willing to say that I made a mistake yet. It's still an open case. We're still in litigation. I don't want to say anything that's going to incriminate myself, but I just need to know who my real friends are. And I just need y'all to wait until we get, until we're past this situation, and then I'm willing to answer any questions for you guys about the situation. And my thing about it is, I don't think Karen should have came back if she wasn't going to be able to be honest and open and transparent about the situation. Because what doesn't do well is this all happened, and I keep saying around the time that Shannon had her DUI. And to me, Shannon's DUI was way worse because luckily Karen hit a tree and she messed up the grass beside a sidewalk. We praise the Lord, there won't nobody walking. But Shannon ran her car almost into somebody's house, and had there not been a cement planter there in front of these people's door, she would have been sitting in their den. And, she drove off, tried to get out the car and pretend like she was walking her dog while she got blood coming down her face. So it's just like her situation was worse, but we seen Shannon take accountability, and that's because Shannon accepted her consequences for the actions that she caused. She accepted that it was a DUI, so she had to do community service. We saw her put a breathalyzer in her car. We've seen Shannon take accountability, whereas we got Karen trying to fight the charges, which didn't work in her favor because now she got a court case. Is it a court case? No, the court hearing or the trial will be in December, and it's a 2-day trial by jury. And it's just like, Karen, if you would have just accepted what happened, then you could be on this season talking about it honestly and transparently. And you could talk about how legit it was because my mom and dad are gone, and I was talking to my friend, we were drinking. I was just just caught up in the moment, reminiscing, and I got sad. I went through a wave of emotions, and people would understand because you lost both of your parents. But this constantly be like, I can't talk about it. Y'all can read about it. And it's like they are reading about it. That's why they're questioning you about it, because what they're reading is something that they didn't expect from you. It's behavior that they didn't think was indicative of the grand dame. So it's just like, you shouldn't have came back if you wasn't going to be able to talk about it like that. So Karen continues being like, I heard, because speaking of friends, that Jacqueline was being shady at my birthday party and brought up that I called her drunk. And you got Mia being shocked, that wasn't gonna come up. Y'all were sitting at the table with pretty much everybody on the cast except Kiarna. And granted, Mia was the one that kicked it off being messy, but Jacqueline didn't help because Jacqueline was like, I think Jacqueline was like, yeah, Karen called me, and then Mia was like, well, you told me you thought she sounded drunk on the phone. And everyone's like, for real? And then Jacqueline's like, Mia, well, I thought, it didn't sound like Karen, not the Karen I know. So she didn't help the situation. So I'm just also looking at Mia like, why would you not think that they was going to tell Karen about that? girl, what? So then they get on the topic of Stacy, because I think Mia was like, oh, let me call Stacy to see where she's at. And so then Mia says that, the girls think Stacy is boring. And I'm like, I don't think Stacy is boring. But I mean, I think she all right. But Mia was just like, the whole Valley girl thing. I don't connect. I don't get it. And I'm like, I feel like you don't get it. And I think you're bothered by the fact that Stacy is just being Stacy, and the group kind of just accepted her. Like, she didn't have to come in here talking about how much money her and G make, how much, they are CEOs and they this and they talking about this and we make 250,000 K a week in a month and all of this stuff. Like, Stacey just came in being Stacey. And even if you think the Valley thing is fake or not, it's working on the girls. It's working on us, because I'm like, it's Stacey. I mean, I've heard her Detroitness come out when they was on that pontoon boat, but it's just kind of like, it's Stacey. So I'm just like, what do you want Stacey to do? Not be herself and start being fake and making up storylines like you, Mia? So the other card that has Jazzy, Kiarna, and Ashley. And Kiarna and Jazzy, low-key was ignoring Ashley, but just talking about their relationships. We found out that Jazzy is like 3 years older than her boyfriend. Kiarna is because I think she said Greg is 41, so I googled. Kiarna's 36, so they don't have like a huge age gap, but there's an age gap. They were talking about how like they used to love them some old men. Then Ashley chimed in and was like, yeah girl, I was there too. She then expresses how she helps Greg with his business. So Greg has like a company or a foundation that tries to provide mental health services for children, and Kiarna pretty much is like, my health spa kind of runs itself. So I normally help Greg, being a liaison and going to these schools and showing them what we have to offer. And she said, the other day he called me an employee, and Ashley was like, was it jokingly or if he was serious? And Kiarna was like, yeah. And I was like, girl, that's not a good thing, because why are you working for free? And Kiarna's like, well, I'm just here to help. You're doing wifely duties and you ain't got no ring. Same with you moving into this house, which I hope, like, you don't have to get married, but I do hope that you have a legal documentation of, if y'all don't work out, how y'all divvying up this house once it's sold. Because you're doing a lot of things that, like, I wouldn't do if I was a girlfriend. Like, I'm not helping you with your business like that. Like, I'll, if you had like an outreach program, like, oh, I'll come help volunteer and stuff like that, but I'm not going out my way or taking time from my own business to help you out, especially if there's no guarantee and I don't get paid for a girl, because you gonna pay me for my work. That's just what it is. But I thought it was interesting that they were really not paying attention to Ashley, because Ashley tried to like get into the conversation when she was talking about working with Michael, and I'm just like, girl, don't nobody care about you working at that kangaroo hut. But what's funny to me is, like, I've been seeing this conversation online about Ashley seems like she's checked out. I was like, no, I think Ashley is not needed anymore. Or it's to the point where the storyline that she keeps giving us, it doesn't work anymore. For the past 3 years, it's been the same storyline of, I'm getting a divorce with Michael. I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to build this life for my kids. I'm dating, from kiddie pool to dating pool. You've been that way for the past 3 seasons, and now you don't really have much to offer us anymore. So I think Ashley might be slowly getting phased out. So the last car scene we have is of Giselle, Wendy, and Jacqueline. And Jacqueline brings up how she's like, she heard that Karen's upset with her about the whole like Karen calling me drunk situation. And Giselle's like, I don't know why Karen calls everybody drunk. So then Wendy is like, no. Karen's not in the car to defend herself, so I don't really want to be a part of this conversation. So then while they're in the car, Wendy ends up asking Giselle, so how are you and Karen? Giselle, are y'all good? Giselle is like, no, we're going to have a conversation, because I really need to check her about the way she did me with this GNA event. Like, you told me you were going to be at my father's, like, this event that was supposed to be sowing money into a charity that is like near and dear to my heart because of my father. So yeah, me and her are going to have a hot conversation. So then Jacqueline is asking Wendy, you ain't really got beef with nobody, do you? Wendy's like, no, but she was like, I did notice that there's some tension between you and Jazzy. And Jacqueline was like, really? And Wendy's like, yeah. And so then Wendy says in her confessional, she heard a conversation while she was sitting in first class between, I think she was like Jazzy and Jacqueline, or Jacqueline, no, or Jazzy and Mia, where she was like, she heard someone say like, I'm Mia's sidekick or a better sidekick or someone's sidekick. And I think she was referring to Jacqueline being like, where's your sidekick? And so Jacqueline's like, so no, she was like, I'm nobody's sidekick. She said on top of that, like, if we're comparing friendships, Jazzy is nowhere near the same level as me when it comes to Mia. And she was like, I have so much more to like offer. Like, what is she talking about? Make it to the lake house. It's a nice lake house, a nice Airbnb. I think I would have been out on the porch more than anything, looking at the lake. I don't know how cold it was. It didn't look like it was too chilly, so I might have gotten in the pool, but I thought it was a vibe. They have concierge service and everything. It's pretty nice. Now, what I don't like is Mia and her storytelling, because when I tell you Mia, it doesn't make sense, and it only confuses me more every time she like adds new information to like the lore that is Mia Thornton. Because now she's telling us that after graduation, her and Ink, when they were like 19, moved to Lake Norman because he wanted to like pursue DJing. And I'm like, there is nothing in Lake Norman. And I'm saying this as somebody, I told y'all like last time, I went to school in North Carolina, Aggie pride. Okay. And Lake Norman from Charlotte is about like an hour and 15 minutes. It's a beautiful area, but there's not like a lot of stuff to do out there like that. So I'm just like, if anything, he should have moved to Charlotte or Raleigh if he was really trying to become like a radio jockey, or like she said, he went to Atlanta, because I don't think people be listening to radio like that down there. So I'm just like, at 19, because then now I'm like, so when did you get pregnant with your first child and marry his father? And then you got a divorce. Then you were stripping at the place that where y'all were stripping in ball gowns and selling lobster and steak. To you met Gordon, who was spending all this money on you at night. Because you said you met Gordon at 19. But when did you get pregnant and get married to your first son? See, the dots. Then you're saying in that post, you said at 24, you were sitting at the table of your own company. I am confused. I am confusion. Because if you met Gordon at 19, but you moved to Lake Norman with, what's his name, with Ink, then where did you get pregnant? Okay, when did the pregnancy happen? Okay, with your first child? Because I feel like you think we forgot about him because we don't see him. And you got married to his dad. Then you had to have married G when you were like 27, 28, because y'all been together for 11 years. And, Google say you 39. I don't know if I believe that, but they say you 39. So like the timeline the dots not connected, and I'm getting irritated. So Karen got a little attitude because she sees how nice the house is and the fact that there's like concierge service and all of that stuff. And she's just kind of like, girl, how come Wendy's birthday, y'all doing it up, but every birthday I have, it's some BS. And they flash back to like when Karen's first birthday we saw on the show was when she turned 53. Giselle was sitting in her seat in the booth. When she turned 59, you got Mia trying to douse Wendy with a drink and tried to assault her with her purse, or I think she actually hit her with the purse, and you got security trying to pull her away while she like, don't you ever, all of that stuff. Then we got them doing chicken shit bingo while they go to Austin for Karen's triple 20. Birthdays have not been great when it comes to this group. So Karen is out loud hating because she's like, oh, so we can treat Wendy right, but y'all can't treat me right. We then see them show everybody their rooms. Karen and Giselle share a bathroom. Karen not too happy about that. Giselle's low-key like, girl, revenge, I'll pee on the toilet seat just to get you back. But they are going back and forth because Giselle keeps saying pee instead of like, going to the bathroom or urinating. And Karen is like, girl, you're not a horse. Say something else. So then we have Jazzy. Jazzy also got her own room. Ashley got her own room as well. Her room actually connects to like the backyard. So like Mia was trying to be thoughtful, being like, you could film your little TikToks and do your yoga and stuff right then and there. While that's going on, Jacqueline is like, where is my room? Where's my room? You know, like how come I'm your best friend and I don't have a room and everyone else gets all these nice rooms, and you got Jazzy being like, girl, I think you rooming with Mia, and Jacqueline's like, no, stop playing, and Jazzy's like, no sis, I think you are, and then everyone's kind of like, yeah girl, I think you are rooming with Mia, because they're showing everybody their rooms and there's no room for Jacqueline this far. So then Jacqueline's like, girl, we already have gone through this. Like, everyone thinks I'm your sidekick, and this is going to make it worse because they bring up what happened last season. Well, not last season, season 7, where they went to Miami and Jacqueline and Mia were sharing a room together, like the evil stepsisters from Cinderella. So we get to Kiana and Stacy's room. It's a bunk bed room. So there's like 6 beds, but like, 3 bunk beds. And Kiana is like, are you serious? I don't get no room. I don't get no room with a door, because it was actually like a curtain that was over the area. And so she irritated, and she's like, really, Mia? Like, okay, I see what you think of me. And so they realize Stacy's going to be sleeping in there too. They actually pushed the beds together. And they were kind of worried about Stacy because she's so much taller that her feet will probably hang off the bed. And Mia's whole reasoning for putting Kiana and Stacy in there is like they're in girlfriend boot camp. They ain't done nothing to Mia. So I guess it just doesn't make sense to me why Mia would want them in that room. I feel like at this point there should be no like a comment, like no trip that they go on with, like where they're like in a house together, that should have bunk beds. Everybody is over the age of 35. The whole entire group is 35 plus. Like, nobody should be sleeping on a bunk bed. Like, y'all are grown adults. Like, what are you doing? But okay. So then they get to Wendy's room, and it's really nice. Like, it has a door out to the what's it called? To the patio area. They put the balloons, 40. Wendy was actually really touched by it. She even was like, this lets me know me and Mia's relationship is ever evolving. One of my favorite Wendy moments is when she told Mia last season. Was it last season? Yes, where she was like, the content that I'm putting out, some of y'all might not be elevated or like mentally there to understand it. I said, that's a great way of calling somebody stupid. I love it. Okay. Educationally be condescending. We love when people can be condescending when it's warranted. So Wendy is overjoyed. Like, she can't believe that the girls did this for her. Karen is annoyed because she was like, I would have liked this for my birthday. But it is what it is, girl. It is officially that Jacqueline is rooming with Mia in the master suite. And everyone's kind of like, Jacqueline, this is why everybody thinks you're Mia's sidekick, because why do you have to share a room with her? And granted, she didn't get to pick her room, but I'm like, Mia did it thinking that you would be okay with it, especially when the first time we met you, you were rooming with her when y'all were in Miami during season 7. But I'm just like, yeah, Jacqueline, if you want to stand on your own 2 feet, what you should have did is went to the bunk bed room with Kiana and Stacy to like make a point that like you don't have to be around Mia 24/7. Because part of me feels like, are y'all friends with benefits? Like, when you're not around your men, y'all touch on each other? Because it's kind of given that. The whole last, season 7, when y'all was taking showers, when Giselle pointed that out when y'all was on the beach, that y'all be taking showers together. Mia saying on Carlos King that you and Ink and her took a shower together. Like, it's giving y'all are more than friends. Y'all are special friends, And so I'm just kind of like, okay, sis. But, she's like, it's okay. Like, Wendy is like, Jacqueline, this is why people think you a sidekick. But all right, we end up seeing Stacy pull through, and she's finally there. They sit down to have lunch, and the food actually looks good. Giselle lets them know that she's leaving. And I was like, then why did you come? Because she's leaving because I think the twins, like, cap and gown ceremony is, like, the next day. And I was like, you should have just stayed there. It would have been fine with you not flying with them. But I guess Giselle said, I'm not going to miss my check. Y'all not going to dock my pay. And so or maybe she didn't want to know what the group would be like, or want us to see the group without her. I don't know, but I think that's just crazy that you got on a plane to fly down to North Carolina, and then you're about to get on another plane to go back to Potomac, go to their ceremony, and then come back. That's a lot of going up and down the road or up and down the airway. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh, okay. So then what's her name? Giselle brings up the situation between Jazzy and Jacqueline. And I think Giselle was like, "Are y'all okay?" And Jazzy said, "What you mean?" And so then Jacqueline's like, "Well, the ladies told me you said that I was Mia's sidekick." And then Jazzy was like, "Well, girl, they were listening a little too hard." A little too hard, because that's not what I said. And so Jacqueline's like, "I'm not Mia's sidekick, like I am nobody's sidekick." So then she gets up out off the table. Now mind you, I couldn't take her seriously, even if like, and I think what messed it up for me is when they zoomed in on her trying to get out of the bench seating. Like because when you're out on like a picnic bench, you have to swing one leg out first, then swing the other, and nobody gets out of that gracefully. And she swung that one leg out, swung the other, and she was like, I'm not a sidekick, okay? I am the full course meal. I am steak and lobster, honey. I'm got the body, the intellect, the face, everything." And Jacqueline in her confessional was like, "I am more than just Mia's friend. I'm a mother. I have my own businesses." And I'm like, "Yeah, Jacqueline, but that is all you've showcased to us, is you being Mia's friend." And then you play further into it when you're around other people that say that they are Mia's friend, because the way that you was acting at that table when everyone was giving their stories about Mia, you lead into that, like you really delve into that, because I was like, "Girl, what? What?" Okay, so you got Jazzy in her confessional. We finally got a confessional from her, being like, Jacqueline has like a weird obsession with, like, she's very territorial over Mia. So while Jacqueline is like the face, the body, the intellect, everything is giving, and Jazzy is like, from the neck up, yeah. From the neck up, yes. And so we end up seeing a flashback of when Jazzy and Mia meet up, and Mia even said, Jacqueline's a little territorial. Then they do another flashback of where they met at the Hatitude party, and you see Jacqueline being like, "So are you replacing me?" Like, Jacqueline plays into it. So it's like, of course people are going to look at you crazy. So then you have Jazzy explaining that no, it was a joke. Like, I was just like, now that you got a new sidekick, Mia, this should be a even more fabulous trip, because I'm fabulous. And Stacey was like, "Well, do you think you're a sidekick?" And Jazzy's like, "No, I said it as a joke. Like, it wasn't that deep." So then Giselle in her confessional was like, "Are we really like fighting over being Mia's sidekick? The self-esteem, where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" So, we have Jazzy and Jacqueline kind of going back and forth. Karen is like, "What's up with all this heat? What is really up with all this heat between these two?" And then for some reason, you got Jacqueline in her confessional being like, "Jazzy's showing that she's a pick-me." I said, "Girl, pot, meat, kettle." Because you give it, you're the best. You are the best. Then Karen says what she said, Jacqueline got some weird sick obsession with Mia. And I don't understand it, and I don't get it. The conversation between Jacqueline and Jazzy dies down. Mia then lets them know that they're going on a boat ride, and everyone has like an hour or 45 minutes to get ready. Wendy is so happy. Karen got the stank face because she is outwardly hating on how great the birthday is going for Wendy, or the events are going. Then things kind of transition because Stacey gets up and she goes and sits beside Mia. And then Stacey says, "You know what, Jacqueline, it seems like you in a lot of mess with a lot of people." I said, "Look at Stacey getting the party started." And Stacey's like, no, Jacqueline's like, "No, I'm not." And she was like, "I'm good friends with like pretty much everybody here." And then that's when Karen is like, "You're not a good friend. I've been real good to you, Jacqueline. Like, I've, championed you." And they show flashback pictures of them in 2022. And for me to find out that you was at my birthday party, pretty much telling everybody that I called you drunk when you were the one that called me for advice, what have I ever done to you? And when I tell you, Karen proceeded to cuss Jacqueline out, because I knew when that finger got to pointing, oh, she was about to cuss her out. She was like, "What have I done to you for you to do me like that?" And so then Jacqueline was like, "There goes Karen deflecting, not listening to me." And so then Giselle tries to be like, "Hey, Karen, before you go off, I just want you to know that whatever Jacqueline said, it wasn't malicious. It wasn't meant maliciously." And so Karen tells Giselle, "Don't do that. Don't do that." So then Karen is just like, "No, what have I done to you? Because why would you sit up here and lie on me and say that I called you drunk? You're a liar. You're an effing liar." So everybody at the table is like, "Ooh, Okay. And so Karen is like, these women are trying to get me to break. They're trying to get me to crumble, but I'm Karen Huger, the eighth wonder of the world. It's not going to go down like that. I said it might once you get back that court, once they give you a verdict on that court case. And Giselle is like, Karen is being a mean girl. And I said, it take one to know one. And she was just like, Karen is deflecting, but girl, we know what's going on. We've all read the court case. So then she was just like, you know what, Jacqueline, you're a flip-flopper. You're a flippity flopper flipper, okay? And you're an effing liar. So then Jacqueline out of nowhere is like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. She just starts crying. Everyone's like, don't cry, Jacqueline. And all I could do was laugh because I was like, Jacqueline, the fact, and I think I laughed because Jacqueline has been real, like, what's the word? Real spicy online in Mia's comments when Mia is throwing shade at Karen, but yet that lady had you crying like this. And you were saying how you're a good friend to her and all of this stuff, and you flipping back your hair like no, and everyone's trying to like console you, but you ain't had that much bass in your voice for her when she was coming at you. Because my thing is, if Jacqueline was actually telling the truth, because I feel like you're friends with Mia, you might be lying. Karen might not have called you drunk, or she might have, you just never know. But if you knew for a fact that she called you drunk, then girl, I would have been like, no, I know you called me drunk. Your words were slurring. Like there would have been no way that Karen would have made me cry. Like, no way that would have made me cry. So then everyone's trying to console Jacqueline. And Karen's like, she can cry till the cows come home. I'm on the receiving end of her venom. I don't feel like I don't feel for her. Her tears don't move me. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just kind of like, Karen, you didn't have to eat that girl up. Like, you did not have to cuss her out like that. But honestly, I don't even think it was deflecting. Like, everyone was trying to say that Karen was deflecting as she set her sights on Jacqueline. No, I honestly think Karen was using Jacqueline as an example to be like, y'all keep pressing me. Y'all keep being nasty towards me about my whole DUI and shady. And if you back me up into a corner, I'm going to fight and I'm going to cuss you out to the point of tears. And it is what it is, because everybody at the table was like, girl, what? So then Giselle was like, we got 45 minutes to get ready. Let's table this for right now. Then you see Wendy go up to Jacqueline and be like, I don't want you to cry, like, or be sad. Like, y'all need to fix it. Don't be sad. This is all about me. It's my birthday, you know, because it's all about you, girl, on your 16th birthday. Y'all, if you know that one, if you know the melody, show Stacy her room. And so she sees the bunk beds. Everyone's prepared for her to be mad, but Stacy's like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted bunk beds. You know, I always tell my mother I wanted bunk beds. Like, this is wonderful, you guys. And everyone's just like, for real? And Stacy was so sickeningly positive that Kiarna couldn't even be mad. That she was just like, you know what? I thought she was going to be mad because she's so tall. But she's actually really positive. And I'm like, okay, might as well. If she's going to be positive, I'm going to be positive about it. That's really a testament to what people say. Sometimes your attitude can change others. Do I think Stacy was happy to be sleeping in a bunk bed? No. I do not. I don't think she was happy to be sleeping in a bunk bed. But I feel like Stacy is the type of person that is not going to let other people see her sweat. And she was not about to throw a whole fit over this bunk bed. She might actually have an attitude and be irritated about it, but she going to let it go. We end up seeing her look for a bathroom because she couldn't find one down there. And I was like, I hope there's a bathroom for y'all. At least give them a bathroom. We then see we see Jazzy and Jacqueline have a conversation where Jazzy is telling Jacqueline, I was not speaking about your body or like, you know, all of that when I said you look good from the neck up. Because from the neck up, you are beautiful, but yeah. And so Jacqueline's like, so you don't like my outfit? And Jazzy's like, no, I don't like your outfit, but you still pretty. Okay. So we then see Ashley. Ashley's on the phone with some guy trying to like set up this, she trying to do something, y'all. I didn't know what she was trying to set up. She was saying how this is how she makes her money, hosting drag shows, brunches, and stuff like that. And what's so comical to me is all of the Ashley Darby supporters who really were like, oh, Ashley's going to get a bag from Michael. Ashley. And I used to say all the time in my reviews that, like, I was like, Ashley is not going to get a bag from Michael. That pasty demon is not stupid. Okay, I think Ashley is like his second wife or his third wife. Either way, the first wife got everything because she was the first. Ashley ain't getting nothing The fact that Ashley couldn't maneuver her way out of like divorcing him and using the divorce money to actually buy a house on her own, she needed that man to sign on the mortgage payments or the lease or whatever for the house, lets you know she didn't get nothing or she's not getting anything in the divorce, y'all. Why do you think it's been like she's dragging her feet for so long? Because she likes the comfortability of being able to run back to Michael and ask for money because she's still his wife. Y'all was like, oh, Ashley's gonna get a bag. What she got in the bag? Pennies and air? Because that's what's in it. Because girl, you doing all of this. But all Ashley is doing is working at like dive bars and like, offbeatly shaking her ass for pennies and dollars. So we move on from that scene and we have like we don't get to see Jacqueline or Mia, but Jacqueline and Mia are having a conversation and they're still mic'd up and they put the subtitles. Jacqueline is in her feelings because she was like, all I said is that I thought Karen was drinking and she turned it into this big thing and she took it to a whole nother level. I was like, why would you think she wouldn't have an issue with that, Jacqueline? Especially if she was just talking to you, thinking it was okay that y'all were having this conversation. And if you have all of this, why didn't you just tell her that to her face at the table? Like, girl, you flopped. Like, Jacqueline, this was really supposed to be like your season to show that you weren't Mia's sidekick, because I don't know how you have this loyalty to Mia after the way she played you during season 8 and the way she drug you online, to now you're having these conversations where I'm like, if you want to stand on your own 2 feet, stand on your own 2 feet. Like, if we're talking about like iconic friends of, and I know people don't see Marlo as that, but that is Marlo. Marlo, you look at the girls on Real Housewives of Miami, like Kiki, Adriana, Marisol, you got Faye Resnick from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like they stand on their own 9 times out of 10. And they make a name for themselves beyond the person that brought them on the show. And Jacqueline has not done that. So then after some of the girls get ready, we actually see Karen and Stacey sit out on the patio and have a conversation where Karen ends up asking Stacey, so how are you been? How's everything going? Stacey says, she's kind of, getting weary and getting nervous the closer it comes to mediation with her husband or her soon-to-be ex-husband. She talks about how her ex-husband or her soon-to-be ex-husband and her did not tell Arabella that they are getting a divorce until they finalize everything in their mediation. I said, first of all, that little girl knows that y'all are getting a divorce. So y'all waiting to tell her that y'all are getting a divorce is crazy to me, because I'm like, she knows 3 languages. She's not stupid. Whenever you're home, you are home and he's not there. And whenever he's home, you're in your apartment in D.C. She knows something is up. She knows that y'all aren't together anymore. She knows a divorce is coming. She might cry when y'all officially say it, but she knows that her parents are getting a divorce. Like, what? And so Karen is like, you just need to tell her. You need to tell her, rip the Band-Aid off and keep it pushing. So then Karen was like, can I transition us to a different conversation? She said, now some of the girls have told me, the comment has come up that, you a little boring. And Stacey is like, boring? Me? And then they flash back to Mia saying that she feels like Stacey is boring. And Stacey says, I get that all the time, that Stacey is too positive, Stacey is too quirky, but she was like, it's not my fault that I don't use my success to divide the people. I use it to bring us together. Then they show us on QVC where she was showcasing this what's it called, this cross necklace, and she was like, this is a wonderful way to show that you love God. I said, Stacey is not going to be getting in our faces and yelling and arguing with people. She's going to argue a different way. But I just feel like the only reason why Mia calls Stacey boring is she is partly might be annoyed at the fact that Stacey didn't have to do all of what Mia did in order to like be accepted in the group. Like, I feel like Mia has put everything out on the table about her family and about her life, and Stacey is coming in like a normal housewife. Look, I did QVC, I'm getting a divorce, I do like, she hasn't had to be like, well, I got money and this and that and I was in the foster care. Like, she hasn't had to use her story the same way that Mia has to like get these women to relate to her, whereas the women seem to like already like Stacey and accept her. them to get on the boat. Now, mind you, I thought they were getting on one of those cute little mini yachts that they showed in the early scenes of like the B-reel footage in the episode. Because I was like, oh, that'd be nice for them to get on. Girl, they getting on a pontoon boat. Now, pontoon boats are not that bad. Like where I live, there's a huge lake. So, especially during the summer, everybody was on the water. You saw small boats, big boats. It was a nice vibe. But when you see those types of boats, people don't really be dressed up the way the ladies were dressed up. It's normally like, girl, t-shirt, bikini top, shorts, or like it doesn't give classy. It gives, we getting drunk on the water and jumping in the lake. You know, we out here to have fun like that, but not with this. I said, what is this? And then they kept calling the man, they called the man captain. And I said, this is not a boat I would want to be called a captain of, but that's just me. That's just me. So they come out, the first set of ladies come out. And mind you, shouts out to JB Says What, because I was watching his Real Housewives of Potomac review, and he was talking about Ashley's boobs and how they don't ever fit in outfits. And he's not wrong, because the outfit that Ashley had on, I just don't like. Ashley's body is so boxy, and I hate that she does not understand how to like dress her body. And I was looking at like, and her titties are in that top just smushed, just here. And I'm like, who told you this was, they look like, it looks like it's uncomfortable. It doesn't look nice, ma'am. But they get on the yacht, they get on the little, not going to call it a yacht, it's not a yacht. They get on the little pontoon boat, and you have the group kind of break up. So the newbies are all on one side. So you got Kiarna, Jazzy, and Stacy on one side of the boat, and then everybody else is on the other side of the boat. So while they're sitting there, you know, they're telling, the captain is telling them all about who lives around there, like, you know, people that play for the Carolina Panthers and for the Bobcats basketball team, and then like people who drive in NASCAR live all around Lake Norman. So then I think Stacy ends up asking Kiarna, who are you not that close with in the group? And Kiarna was like, Ashley. And it's all because of the, you know, the situation where, you know, she got hit in the face with the mug from Deborah. Well, they were like, Stacey was like, well, did she ever apologize for it? And I like the fact that Kiarna was honest, where she was like, she did, but I wasn't open to receive it at that time. I wasn't in that place. And that's an honest response. Like, she apologized, but I ain't receive it, bro. So it don't really mean nothing to me. And so they were like, well, did you press charges? She said, no, the state of DC, you know, pressed charges because that's assault with a deadly weapon. And then I pressed charges, and now we're just waiting for litigation. And I feel like people be forgetting that, like, sometimes the states can just press charges on you. Even if you don't press charges, the state can press charges on somebody if they feel like it's warranted. And with the way Deborah went and popped Kiarna in the head, I understand why. Okay? So the next scene we have is on the other side of the boat. So you have Ashley, Wendy, and Jacqueline on one side, and then you have Giselle, Karen, and Mia on another side. So then Ashley brings up like a New Year's Eve picture of when it was Mia, Ink, Gordon, and the 3 kids. And I guess she was like, is this where you guys were celebrating? And Mia's like, yeah, this is where we were celebrating. And they were like, Gordon was okay with that. And Mia ends up being like, well, Gordon has his moods where he's okay with us all being together, and then he has his moods when he's not okay with us being together. And so then I think Giselle was like, that's a lot, Mia. That's a lot. Because then she was just like, are y'all still married? And she was like, yeah. So Giselle says in her confessional, she was like, if I'm confused, then I know them kids is confused. And she not lying. So then Mia ends up being like, you know, when he's on his meds, like he's better now. He's on his meds. And so Wendy was like, so does that mean he's not having episodes anymore? And she was like, yo, no, he'll have episodes again every now and then. But if he goes to therapy, gets his meds recalibrated, then he shouldn't have too many bad outbursts. She was like, you know, when he is on his meds, like when he's like having a manic episode, he spins. You know, last time he got me a G-Wagon, and they flashed to season 6 where Gordon did, I think he was like, oh, Mia's going to build a G-Wagon for her birthday or for her anniversary. And I'm just like, because then the next thing Mia says is like, you know, he kind of put us in a few pickles, and I've gotten us out of several, but specifically like 3. And I'm just like, was it really a pickle, Mia, if you were okay with him spending all that money? Like, this is the thing about Mia that irritates me, because in one breath she says that she wants to, protect Gordon, protect her family, and do all of this stuff. And, she doesn't want to pull her kids away from him or disparage him. But then another breath, she does it. And I'm not saying that Gordon was a perfect partner, because by no means. He admitted to being mean towards Mia. We heard her getting, locking her in a room and taking her cell phone, and him being like, you needed to rest. Like, Gordon probably was hell on wheels, especially him being undiagnosed or diagnosed with bipolarism, and him not actually taking the medication or being in therapy to regulate his mood swings. So I'm not saying that he was perfect, but what I have an issue with is Mia constantly contradicting herself, saying that she wants to have this happy family, or have good co-parenting relationship with Gordon, or keep her kids safe and all of this stuff. But then you go and do these types of things where you do talk bad about him, and you do make it seem like he's the issue, when it's like, no, you both were the issue. Because you can't tell me that this would be an easy transition for anybody, especially if they haven't moved on, that you are now already introducing a new man to your kids into a relationship that's not even done. Y'all haven't even gone through litigations for your divorce, because the fact that Giselle is like, y'all are still married, but you still running around town and going on trips with Ink is crazy. It doesn't make sense. So then the conversation switches to where I think Jazzy or Kiarna asks Stacey about, her dating life. And, where we heard that you were dating. And so then Stacey ends up being like, well, Ashley spilled the beans on me dating, pretty much saying that, Stacey got a new man, she moving on, da-da-da-da-da-da. And Ashley overhears, and she's like, Stacey, stop lying, because that's not how it went. I did not say, well, Stacey's divorced and she got a new man, so she's moved on. I did not say it like that. And when they do the flashback, Ashley did not say it like that. She was like, well, Stacey got a friend, and so she's good. She's good. And so Stacey gets up and goes and sits down on the other side. And then Jazzy's sitting on the back of the boat, and they all come over to the area, and Stacey ends up being like, well, you know what, Ashley, what you did hurt me, because then I think Karen was like, Stacey is kind of a private person. Maybe she felt some type of way with you bringing that up. And Stacey sits down and she basically tells Ashley, I invited you to my home hours before we had that sit down with the other ladies. And then you spilled the beans about my relationship. And, I'm with this man who I'm madly in love with, who loves me. And I said, I don't know about that, Stacey. I think he loves somebody else, but it ain't you. And you basically brought this situation up, and it felt like you diminished my relationship, and I didn't appreciate that. On top of the fact, you put your bunions on my marble. I said, girl, you should have cussed her out then when she did it in your house. Steps in where she was like, well, I think her issue with it, Stacey, is that you called her messy Ashley, and saying that she was always starting stuff. And Ashley is like, you don't even know me to call me messy. And I'm like, no, she doesn't have to know you to call you messy, but what you did was messy. Let's call a thing a thing. She was trying to explain her story, and then Giselle didn't help out by saying that, oh, I heard you had 2 kids. So Stacey already knew in her mind that y'all were talking about her. That's Ashley's fault. Ashley shouldn't have said nothing. So, the conversation continues, and they talk about TJ's celibacy. Giselle brings up about how she was married to a Christian man, and he was not he still wanted to have sex. I said, that's because you were married to a whore. People being celibate is normal if they don't want to have sex, but girl, you were married to the town whore. Matter of fact, the state whore, if we being correct. State, district, everything. Whoredom is in his blood. People act like celibacy is so taboo and foreign, when it's like, if you are horny, act upon your horniness consensually and responsibly. But if other people aren't and they choose to be celibate, then there's no point for you to rag on them for being celibate. That's what they choose to do with their body. So then Stacey brought up, she was like, well, I heard some of y'all call me boring. Why were you calling me boring? Who called me boring? And I think Wendy was like, Mia, and then Karen was like, Mia. And, Giselle said, I called you stiff. And then I think Mia said, well, you're kind of uninteresting. You know what I mean? And Everyone's like, dang, Mia. And I was like, yeah, Mia, why you got such a hard on for Stacey? Stacey was like, that's okay, Mia. That's okay. This is me. I'm Stacey. Like, this is how I am. And then Karen was like, Stacey is not boring. She's a good time. You know what I'm saying? We're in new waters. This is new beginnings for me. So y'all will get to know me. Then they had Stacey do a catwalk to the other side of the boat. It was a lot going on. Pull back up to the lake house. It's a beautiful setup. We find out that they got 3 drinks called the Mia Moore. Oh, Mia Moore. Oh, that's cute, my love. That's cute. Mia Moore, the Bi-Coastal Queen, and Potomac proper. We end up meeting her friend Dominique, who I guess is the one that set up the event. We see several other of Mia's friends get there, but before they get there, Giselle ends up wanting to have a conversation with Karen because Wendy said, whatever y'all got going on, I need y'all to fix it before my actual birthday. So Giselle said, I want to take this time to address Karen. So Giselle ends up saying that, Karen, I feel like I've been a great friend to you, but you haven't been a great friend to me. And this whole situation of having the ladies pick between going to your event versus my event, I don't think was right or fair. So then Karen ends up saying that, I wanted the girls to be there with me. So then Giselle was like, well, Karen, you told me you weren't going to double book. And so Karen is like, well, no, I told you I didn't know when the event was. And I tried my best to make sure that everybody had the ability to go to both events. And so Karen, so I think Giselle was like, but it just like, it hurt my feelings. And so Karen's like, you know what, I'm sorry about that. Like, that wasn't my intention. I said, okay, Karen. And so Giselle was just kind of like, we need to work on our communication. And Karen says, yes, I want to stay in a good place with you where we're at. So Karen ends up being like, well, I take ownership of my actions, but what I don't take ownership is your behavior. I raised you better than that. And so that broke the ice or the tension. Everyone started laughing. And Giselle said, Karen, you did not raise me. And so then she ends up getting up and leaving. And Giselle says in her confessional, she does not want to fight with Karen. She wants to be in a good place with Karen because she know Karen, she gonna need Karen. Okay, she gonna need Karen to have her back. So she's like, okay, so I want to just move on and be in a better place with her and keep it pushing. So we actually see Giselle leave, and that's when Mia's friends pull up. So Wendy keeps saying, like, this is supposed to be about me, not Mia. But I understand that her friends are here. We then see Karen in her confessional where she was just like, I've hung out with Mia's friend Joy. It was a good time, she said, but I'm going to be honest, Jacqueline does not fit the group. Earlier in the episode, that's why Stacey said what she said, is because Mia let it be known that Jacqueline was not friends with Mia's friends, and Mia let it be known that Jacqueline, like, dramatically left the group chat, and that's when Stacey was like, Jacqueline, you seem to be in a lot of drama with a lot of people. And then that's when the fight between Jacqueline and Karen popped off. But Karen ends up saying that pretty much Jacqueline doesn't fit this group. So as they're sitting at the table, Mia tells everyone to go around and tell like funny stories about her. The Joy lady that Karen hung out with Mia talks about ink sucking on Mia's toes. And I said, how is that a story about you and Mia and it's supposed to be like funny and lighthearted? Like, that's disgusting. And I'm like, did he do that in front of y'all at the table? Is that why she told the story? Because it didn't seem like the Joy lady implemented herself in the story. I was just like, I'm weirded out by this. So then, Jacqueline even kind of made a face. Mia ends up saying that they were like on a yacht in Jamaica and he was sucking on her toes. I said, girl, when did you get to Jamaica? I'm confused. One of her friends talks about how she's known Mia like maybe like 10 or 11 years, because she was like, well, I was around Mia when she was getting married to Gordon. Like, I went wedding dress shopping with her and everything. So then you see Jacqueline kind of make a face like, and so then Jacqueline's like, I've known Mia, back when she was in the Honda Civic on the, with the tinted windows, with the rims and all of that stuff. And then like Kiana said, because Kiana and Wendy are looking at Jacqueline like, girl, but Kiana said in her confessional, Jacqueline is trying to like mark her territory when it comes to Mia. Like, girl, why was this needed for you to tell us this? So then Mia brings up this whole butt dialing situation with Karen, where she was like, me, Karen, and Joy went out And Karen's like, yeah, we had a great time. And she said, but what I don't think Karen knows is that you butt dialed me. And, and so Mia's like, you butt dialed me. And so Karen's like, okay, what did you hear? And she said, well, I, on the phone, like, I don't think you noticed that you butt dialed me, but basically you said that these girls think I'm with Ray. And so Ashley's like, Karen is like, I don't remember saying that. I don't. Okay. And she was like, okay. And then the episode goes off. All the while, you got Joy in the amen section being like, yeah, you did. You did. You did. All of Mia's friends are weird. Are weird. Because here's my thing. What was the point of bringing up this story about Karen? Like, what was the point? Like, if the whole like prompt was to have your friends tell us funny, comical stories about you and their interactions together, or just talk about how great of a person you are, why would you bring up this butt dial with Karen? And why are y'all so hell bent on trying to like make it seem like Karen cheats on Ray? I've always come to the understanding or thought that Karen and Ray had an understanding that because Ray is like 78 or 79 years old, she can go out in them streets. The same way Gordon gave Mia a pass because the man got ED. I don't think the revelation is going to be that big when we get to the episode for this coming Sunday. But I just didn't get the point why Mia did that. Y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic and definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.